For this final project, it was really interesting to interview multiple people. Initially, what I wanted to do was focus on Jewish culture, but that was too narrow, so I broadened the idea out to just cultural inclusivity on campus. With that, I had a hard time kind of thinking about who I should interview, if I should interview professionals or what students on campus, whose opinion and ideas should I gather for this kind of informational piece. So I kind of came to the realization that students, I think, would have the best ideas and the brightest opinions on how they themselves interact with others on campus. So with that being said, I kind of thought about big groups on campus, ethnicities, cultures, religions that are very represented well, and I kind of came to the realization that that would be Jewish for religion, Asian, and Indian. So I contacted a few people, and luckily our schedules kind of worked out. That was another issue that I had, was it being final season. I'm obviously very busy, as well as other students on campus, so finding those times where we can meet up was a challenge, but we got through it. With that being said, the interviews, some places weren't ideal, so we interviewed at my house, but there were a lot of people yelling in the background, and even the lav mic picked it up, so the audio wasn't that great. In the other two interviews, I didn't keep the headphones on throughout the entire interview, so the mic in the back of the audio recorder was shaking, and you could kind of hear that, so I wasn't able to use any of that audio because the levels wouldn't really match up. So throughout this entire project, the audio is not as great as I had hoped it would be, or as it should be, but nevertheless, it worked out. So then with the written story, I kind of wanted to focus on just the numbers and the statistics. So whites are obviously the majority on campus, but there still are very, very large minorities on campus. There's about 23%, I believe, international students, which is a huge number. And the girl I interviewed, Jennifer Kuo, is Taiwanese and raised there as a child, but came over to America. So she kind of has the ideas and perspective of both, and coming here, her ideas and perspectives on things is very interesting, being a part of kind of those two major groups on campus, as well as the Asian population, which is, I believe, 13-14%. So getting the ideas of the differences even within those cultures was very interesting. Taiwanese, she said, is very similar to Chinese. I personally don't know the difference between all of the Asian cultures and that kind of stuff, so it was a very awesome learning experience, but I know that in the future, audio would be much better. B-roll was a huge challenge because there are 3 interviews and you don't want to take away too much from each person, so just using minor B-roll, kind of using graphs for statistics and that kind of stuff, I think worked out well, but in the future, I think maybe focusing on one group, I think would have made a really great story, but it wouldn't have told the story of a university as a whole. So that was my final project. I had a great time doing it, and I hope a lot of people have learned about cultural inclusivity.